Trump thinks we have all the cards because we buy everything. No, they have all the cards because they make everything. That's the hard part. It's easy for China to consume what they produce. It's impossible for us to consume what we don't produce. So if all trade ended between, let's say, the United States and China, China still has all their factories. They still produce all their stuff. And so now their own citizens consume it instead of us. What are they out? Meanwhile, in America, all we have is our paper. So the government sends paper to American citizens that we print, and they have nothing to buy. So which country is worse off? The country that gets all the goods or the country that's stuck with all the paper, right? So they've got the cards. Trump just doesn't understand the game that's being played. But he is correct in his assessment that what's happening is a bad thing. Yes, we are indulging our present, but we're sacrificing our future. We're selling off our cows to buy milk. But these trade deficits are symptomatic of the underlying problem in the economy, that we don't produce enough, we consume too much, we don't save enough, we don't invest enough, we have this bubble economy. That's our fault. Now, yes, the rest of the world has enabled that by financing this, by financing our trade deficits and recycling them to finance our budget deficits. But to recreate the type of economy that Donald Trump wants to create, in order to do that, all of that inflation is going to move back from Wall Street to Main Street. We're going to reverse the process, because if we impose these strict tariffs, the money is not going to go out, where imports are going to be so expensive that Americans are going to import less. So the money stays here and the goods stay there. They don't come in. So we have more money chasing fewer goods. That bids up prices. But also the whole economy implodes, because without the goods to sell, right, the service sector economy that it enabled collapses. So we're in a massive recession. But also, if we're going to build the factories that no longer exist, right, if we're going to, reestablish the supply chains, the trade routes, train the workers, where is all the money going to come from to do that? Right? We don't have it. Americans have to stop spending and start saving so we can free up resources. But if our whole economy, the GDP, is based on everybody spending, everything implodes. But the problem is the government is running such massive deficits. How are we going to finance the reindustrialization of America and build all those factories and cover the cost of the deficits? Because remember, if the foreigners aren't recycling their trade surpluses, then they're not buying any of our bonds. That means the $26 trillion of Treasury debt that matures in the next 4 years, Americans have to finance that. Plus, if we go into a recession, the budget deficits will be 3 or 4 trillion a year. We got to loan that money to the government too. Well, how are we going to loan all this money to the government, but then pay for the build out of all these factories? It is impossible to do. So the government has to dramatically cut spending, including for Social Security, Medicare, national defense. We probably have to default on the debt, because there's no other way that we could free up the resources to make the investments that we need to make to actually create this industrial revolution that Donald Trump thinks he just unleashed.